In the ancient, mist-shrouded forests of Europe, a mysterious and powerful group of priests once walked in harmony with nature, their footsteps leaving an indelible impression on the ancient world. They were the Druids, enigmatic figures who ignited myths that echo through time. Revered as wise leaders and spiritual guides among the Celtic tribes, the Druids were more than mere priests. They were the living custodians of a mystical connection between humanity and the natural world. Who were these fascinating individuals who seemed to straddle the line between this world and the next? And how much of their legacy has resisted the eroding sands of time? Join us as we decode the secrets of the Druids and unveil truths hidden in the forest's whispers. To truly understand the Druids, we must first immerse ourselves in the rich tapestry of Celtic society, a society that flourished between 1200 BCE and the Roman Empire's expansion. The Celts were an intricate web of tribes known for their artistry, warfare, and reverence for the spiritual realms. At the heart of their spiritual life stood the Druids. But the term Druid, what does it mean? Derived from the Celtic words dru, signifying oak, and wid, meaning knowledge, the name essentially portrays them as oak knowers, or possessors of profound wisdom. Druids emerged as the keystones of society, not merely as priests, but also as judges, teachers, and close advisors to kings. They were entrusted with the oral traditions, a living encyclopedia of Celtic history, culture, and lore passed through generations. In a society where spoken words carried profound power, the Druids were both the voice and memory of their people. Imagine relying entirely on oral storytelling and memorization to preserve millennia-old wisdom. How extraordinary and daunting it must have been. Furthermore, nature wasn't merely their inspiration, it was their sanctuary and their scripture. Sacred groves, particularly those containing ancient oak trees, became their temples. These hidden enclaves weren't just places of worship, they were bridges to the unseen world, where the spiritual met the terrestrial in a dance of divine energy. Trees, hills, rivers, they all carried sacred significance, instilling a sense of reverence that still resonates in today's environmental movements. So, what did the Druids practice? At its core, Druidism was a faith rooted in cycles. These cycles governed the seasons, life, death, and beyond. Ceremonies intertwined with the ebb and flow of nature. For instance, Samhain, marking the end of the harvest and the start of winter, blurred the boundaries between the living and the dead, while Beltane's roaring fires celebrated renewal and fertility in the blossoming spring. Sacred rituals carried yet more mystery, chants resonating through hidden groves, sacrifices conducted to appease and honor their multifaceted gods, and the ever-elusive art of divination. Few could match their skill in interpreting omens, whether in the pattern of birds, the flight of arrows, or the rustling of leaves. The natural world was alive, dynamic, always whispering secrets if one had the ears to listen. Healing was also their domain, both physical and spiritual. With immense knowledge of herbs, plants, and medicinal substances, the Druids were seen as healers of body and soul alike. But healing wasn't simply an earthly undertaking. It linked to an overarching spiritual framework, where each ailment, especially for the Celts, came with a lesson, a purpose. And underpinning much of this was the Druids' belief in reincarnation and the immortality of the soul. This concept, described by later Roman writers, painted a picture of souls traveling through lifetimes, as though one cloth was woven with many threads. You see, for the ancient Celts, as strange as this seems to modern sensibilities, the idea of death wasn't tinged with fear, but rather embraced as part of a larger, eternal journey. But knowledge and spiritual insight weren't their only role. Druids also found themselves thrust into conflict. When the juggernaut of Roman conquest loomed over Celtic lands, Druids became powerful symbols of resistance. Their spiritual unity and deeply rooted status among the tribes made them natural leaders during tumultuous times. When much of Europe eventually succumbed to Roman rule, many Druids were brutally persecuted or annihilated. Roman Emperor Claudius even went so far as to outlaw Druidism altogether, recognizing the Druids not only as spiritual opponents, but as political insurgents. Still, even as Roman accounts vilified them, accusing Druids of performing human sacrifices and arcane rituals, the ripples of their influence endured. Their oral traditions, though partially obscured by time, found renewed life in Celtic art, legends, and folklore. Ever read an Arthurian tale? Notice the mystical, bearded figure guiding events from the sidelines. Yes, the character of Merlin embodies elements of druidic resonance, a testament to their enduring echo in Western storytelling. To this day, the Druids remain one of history's greatest riddles. Why? Because so much about them has been inexorably lost. They left no written records, choosing instead to root their wisdom in oral teachings. All contemporary accounts of Druids come from outsiders like Julius Caesar, who may have had little incentive to portray them fairly. Then, there are the stone circles and monuments that dot the British Isles. While sites like Stonehenge are often associated with the Druids, even modern archaeology grapples with their exact purpose. To some, these represent Druidic knowledge of astronomy, a celestial map etched in stone. To others, their connection to Druids is tenuous, linked more by cultural longing than historical fact. Modern renditions of Druidry, however, have sought to bridge this gap. Rooted in a desire to reconnect with what some see as ancestral wisdom, groups like the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids have gained traction in recent years. These neo-Druidic practices are less about replicating a lost religion and more about embracing humanity's place within nature, a tribute to those whose footsteps first shaped that awareness. Today, the Druids' mystique not only survives, but thrives. They serve as a reminder of a time when wisdom flowed with the rivers, when spirituality intertwined with the forest, and when humanity's bond with the earth was unbreakable. While we may never fully uncover their secrets, the essence of what they represented, harmony, reverence, and courage, continues to inspire us, whispering truths in the rustling of leaves.